Howdy folks, today we're getting into part 2 of the Bourbon Showdown, trying to figure out what's going to be my go-to bourbon for the home bar. Let's go. Alright, so last week we tried these bourbons and made some old fashions. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, go back and watch part 1. What we figured out last week is that it's a little difficult to tell the difference between these bourbons. They all make it a pretty good old-fashioned. They all taste pretty good. Now, I am undeterred. We are going to make some whiskey sours this week and see if that will shed any light on this situation. Now, of course, I tried these last week, but just to recap really quick, Buffalo Trace, 90 proof, maybe a little weak. Elijah Craig, a go-to favorite of mine for many years. It's got kind of a honey sweetness to it. Delicious. Knob Creek 9-year is not bad. A little astringent, I think. Like, has a little bit of like a bitterness to it almost. Maybe it's a little too oaky. I think that's the issue with that. Old Forester 100 proof is pretty good. Higher rye. It's a little bit spicy. And really, maybe my favorite. I'm withholding judgment. And finally, Wild Turkey 101 is not bad. It's the cheapest of the lot, and it's got like a chewiness. It's like yum 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 yum, like the chewy pencil ends. Pretty reasonable for $24. All right, so we're gonna make some whiskey sours. I don't know if this is gonna provide any insights or not, but let's mix them up and find out. We did it. We made our whiskey sours. We're gonna start with the Buffalo Trace like we did before, move up in proof from there. Buffalo Trace, lovely. First of all, a whiskey sour is lovely, delicious, a little tart, like a sweet tart. I mean, that one tastes fine. I'm getting a lot of lemon, maybe not a ton of bourbon. I mean, I'm a little prejudiced against the Buffalo Trace because I feel like I'm already feeling like it's gonna be a little too weak. That's basically what a whiskey sour tastes like, I think. So let's move on to Elijah Craig. Elijah Craig, the old favorite. I like Elijah Craig. I feel like that sort of slight honey flavor kind of comes through. It's got a little sort of bite at the end, a little bourbony kick at the end. I think that's really good. I think the difference with Buffalo Trace is in the finish. The finish is kind of nothing with Buffalo Trace. With Elijah Craig, it's got a little pop at the end. Not bad. Now moving on to Knob Creek, as I recall, this one it's a little astringent. I'm worried this might be a little not taste sweet enough, like seem too sharp or something. Let's check. Actually, surprisingly mellow. Knob Creek. It doesn't have that little bump at the end like the Elijah Craig, but it's perfectly good actually. I'm not really getting that astringency. I think maybe the sugar is cutting back on that sort of astringent oaky quality that I was getting before. So yeah, Knob Creek, perfectly reasonable. Okay, moving on, Old Forester. Now, in retrospect, I'm thinking Old Forester I think might have been the one I preferred the best in the old-fashioned and just sipping straight. Let's see how it does. Back to that sort of little kick aftertaste, that sort of bourbony punch at the end. Is it spicy or it's hard to detect the spiciness through the lemon and the sugar, but it's definitely got a little something going on. Yeah, I guess it's a little spicier, a little maybe a hint of like pepper or something. I mean, another perfectly good whiskey sour, to be honest with you. Okay, all right. Last but not least, wild turkey. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but there's something about wild turkey that tastes wild turkey-y. Is it a peanut flavor? I don't know. It's got this certain chewiness. It's got a certain something that I can't identify the flavor, which is frustrating, but it tastes like itself, and it comes through in the drink. It's actually not bad at all. Pretty good. Even though it's 101 proof, it doesn't have that little kick at the end, but it has sort of a more lingering, longer finish. None of these are bad. It's hard to say which one is best. None are bad. Maybe I don't prefer Buffalo Trace. Elijah Craig, it tastes a little sweeter. I actually kind of like it a lot. I've liked it for years and I still like it. Knob Creek is maybe not one or the other. Like I'm not sure Knob Creek is doing anything for me that you can't get elsewhere. Old Forester, pretty good. Like a little spicy, a little bit more complex, I guess. And Wild Turkey is just Wild Turkey, and it's just solid. It's got a certain something that I can't identify, but I actually kind of love it. And it's so inexpensive that it's really hard to deny. All right, hopefully that was entertaining. I don't know how informative that was. I'm having a lot of trouble. I think my conclusion is you just buy whatever bourbon. Like, bourbon tastes good. If you have a minimum quality of bourbon, you're not buying some, something terrible. Get a reasonably priced bourbon from, a reputable producer, and you're gonna be fine. Like, all of these are perfectly fine. Maybe you have a preference for one or the other of these, or just some other bourbon altogether, and that is totally fine. You do you. There's no rules in your home bar. All right, well, part 2, a much shorter video, but that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think down in the comments. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.